Iowa's public schools have always been excellent. For years, Iowa had the lowest illiteracy rate in the nation. And I felt no discrimination between young men and young women in high school, but that would change after high school. Although I'd been encouraged by counselors to think about college, I can't recall anybody in senior year of high school ever talking to me about that. Brian received a 4-year scholarship and Andy went to Dartmouth. But those possibilities seemed so far beyond my reach that I didn't even hear about them. I did, however, receive a scholarship to junior college. It was not so much a matter of gender, really. In high school, our circle of friends crossed economic lines. But in terms of going to college, economics did matter. I am so thankful that we had Mason City Junior College for people like myself. Even though there were possibilities for me, still for women, the main possibilities were being a secretary, a nurse, or a teacher. And many women married that summer right after high school, or it was common among my circle of friends for women to marry after 1 year of college. The expectations of my sister and I is that we would help our mother financially and just emotionally by staying close to home. It would really never occur to me to go against Mother's wishes. She was what you'd call a domineering mother. If I had a different view from her, I just kind of simply remained quiet and hoped that she would notice. Not that she didn't care. In fact, when I was beginning high school, she had made sure that I took pre-secretarial classes. But I think she noticed how unhappy I was trying to learn shorthand. And so she went up to high school one day without telling me and changed my classes to pre-college. The jobs that we had, Mother depended upon. In fact, my sister and I would give the checks that we had from our summer jobs to her. And even beyond that, our allowance or birthday money, she would sometimes borrow. So I learned to be very careful with money, thrifty even, and that would really serve me well in years to come. When I turned 16, I had my first paying job. It was in an ice cream parlor, and I worked nights. Mrs. Hintz, the pastor's wife, talked to the store owner to make sure I wouldn't have to miss church on Sunday morning. Mrs. Hintz was the pastor's wife, played the organ, directed all the choirs, ran the ladies' aid and the Sunday school. I think I made a mental note that if I ever became a pastor's wife, I wouldn't follow that role model. I worked at the soda fountain for a few months before I got a regular day job at Damon's department store. But while I was there, I had fun making sodas. I remember, however, one day that I was topping off a soda with a fizzy water, and it squirted it right into a customer's face. It would make a good English essay later. And one time I mixed up the syrup for the Coke and the root beer, the heavy syrup you'd put into the machines, but I don't think anybody noticed it for a week. Later on, I would have a job at Weber's carpet store, and I would work there throughout junior college. I learned a lot from that family business. It was a secure place to be. I learned skills of meeting the public, selling, and sewing draperies. In fact, I was very good at it, so much so that one day when I had my wisdom tooth pulled out, I went to work anyway, and still under the painkiller, I sold up a storm. Junior college was a good place to be. Mason City Junior College was the first 2-year school in Iowa and one of the first 2-year colleges in the nation, really. I worked hard, studied hard, enjoyed learning, and took 20 credit hours a semester just in case I might have a chance someday to go on to a 4-year school. I did receive a 4-point as my sister before me, and once again had the opportunity to be the commencement speaker at my own graduation. Those opportunities of public speaking before 1,000 people gave me confidence for speaking that I would do later in life. I had lots of friends. It was a wonderful opportunity for those of us who could not afford to go to other colleges to have a solid education right there at home. In fact, we had a sense of respect, so much so that the teachers insisted that we be called Miss Cook or Mr. Fromm, so that we knew we were respected and were going to a respectable college, and I felt that. We had music and speech and journalism. I was editor of the Troy Tribune. One time, there was an Iowa conference of editors of college newspapers. It was in Iowa City. And I was on a panel with the editor of the college paper of the University of Iowa and Iowa State University. So I was simply from a junior college. So what? My communication skills or English teacher was Marie Scalakamp. She was a fine scholar and a fine teacher. She had co-authored the textbook that we used in class. But she had chosen to stay at the community college. Such was her commitment to all of us. The second year of junior college, I got a note from the office saying that my tuition was paid for that year. It would be after graduation that Miss Scalakamp told me that she had paid my tuition. She said she couldn't tell me while I was a student, but didn't want me going through life wondering who had. When I later wrote my own book on education, she was one of the people to whom I dedicated the book for her invitation to teach. The junior college had been in the high school building, but then it moved to Roosevelt Grade School, which coincidentally was the grade school that Burton had attended as a child. We had a few hundred students there, and we had our own building. Later, it would move back to the high school, and later yet, it would become North Iowa Area Community College, where now they have 500 acres at the edge of town and just about 3,000 students, plus hundreds more who take courses there. I'm proud of my education. I'm proud of that alma mater, and proud this spring I'll receive an Outstanding Alumni Award and be the speaker for the students who will be graduating. Even though it was my only option, it was a good option. And I am such an advocate for public education and for community colleges across this land. Actually, during those junior college years, I would meet up with Burton about once a year, and I did student teaching with Miss Wassam, who had been his first grade teacher. So somehow our lives were beginning to intertwine. I did student teaching during my sophomore year of college, and it was during that year that I first became aware of what I was teaching. The holidays were kind of civic holidays. Christmas was full of Santa Claus, and if you be very good, you get Christmas presents. That was counter to the Christian faith that I was learning. Actually, my own church vocation would be growing during those years.